I have the CTO.eth handle. It's been rough. Ethereum has had 7 seasons where it's been dead 3 times, and now is definitely one of them. Everything dead in 2022, and then when crypto and Bitcoin came back in 2023 and now in 2024, Solana absolutely slaughtering Ethereum. So it has seemed pretty grim. But that's how it always feels at the bottom, and now might be the time to wake up and start looking at price scenarios, because 3 things have just happened. Fake news has started circulating in mainstream media. The SEC probing crypto companies in Ethereum investigations as hopes for ETF dim. Securities and Exchange Commission is waging an energetic legal campaign to classify Ethereum as a security according to US companies that have received subpoenas related to an investigation. But as this guy points out, how do the people receiving subpoenas know anything about the scope of any investigation? Exactly. I am not a securities lawyer, but I do understand how the technology works, and I'm able to read. And according to the Howey test, users are allowed to expect profit, and the common enterprise may have efforts of others, like devs, like the Ethereum Foundation, but the profit must not be derived from the effort of others. Otherwise it becomes a security under the Howey test. And the claim made here is that maybe it was the proof of stake thing that turned Ethereum into a security. Well, no, because the effort of others. Validators actually use their own technical expertise to maintain the tech and the uptime. And the validator is only rewarded when it takes part in validation. The validator only earns a reward or penalty for itself based on its own action. So that's just not correct. And here we have Paul Graval, Chief Legal Officer at Coinbase. The SEC has taken this position for years, referring to that it's a commodity. For example, a senior SEC official have said that ETH is not a security. See for example this Hinman statement. Before he was an SEC chair, Gary Gensler himself testified before Congress that ETH is not a security. That's kind of hard to wiggle out of if you can't say that everything changed now, that it's proof of stake, and it's just not correct, guys.
Why did I name those 4? They're not securities. Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash.
The SEC realizes it's a security.
Why did I name those 4? They're not securities.
We're told that we need clarity.
Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash.
The SEC realizes it's a security.
Why did I name those 4? They're not securities.
We're told that we need clarity.
Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash.
The SEC realizes it's a security.
Why did I name those 4? They're not securities.
And even very recently, the SEC's trial lawyers continue to compare ETH to BTC. You can check all the transcripts and everything here. The CFTC and federal courts have consistently confirmed that ETH is a commodity. For example, ETH futures contracts started trading on CFTC-regulated futures exchanges in 2021. So fake news is coming out at the same time as BlackRock launches a tokenization fund. And let's listen to what he says for just 1 minute.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities about bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we could customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own share.
And it is on Ethereum, guys. So fake news at the same time as literally the world's biggest whale is investing, and a rectangle formation is building in the chart, which can act as a very strong cyclical bottom. And Ethereum feels grim, dead, and hopeless, as it always does at the bottom. Minimum, it's time to pay attention. And 10k in the title is not hyperbole. I think it might be conservative. In fact, I don't think that 10k will be the outcome. Now we will go over the 7 seasons that we've had for Ethereum so far. And then we look at scenarios for season 8, which hasn't aired yet. The first season was the flippening. Here is ETH versus BTC, and Ethereum gained a shocking 9,700% on BTC. That's 98x. And during that time, of course, Bitcoin also went up. So Ethereum versus the USD during that period went up something like 128,000%. That's 1290x ETH moon. Then what happened in season 2? That was roughly the time when I came into crypto. Super excited about altcoins. And I had seen how much Ethereum had gone up. Granddaddy BTC was back. So ETH versus BTC from June 17 until December dropped 85%, minus 85%. And ETH USD was basically flat, while BTC was mooning like crazy. So everyone's ETH and altcoins got absolutely wrecked versus BTC, while your friends' BTCs were mooning. So ETH USD flat, and the emotion was ETH dead. But then what happened? In the shortest season of all, but the life-changing one for many, December 2017 to January 2018, ETH BTC, which are the bars here, is absolutely mooning 4-5x, while BTC is actually dropping versus the dollar. It's the all-season grand finale, and ETH BTC pumps another 4x, which brings ETH versus US dollar also up 4x. ETH is king again. But then after the grand finale party, what happens? There is hangover. And a bad one. Because what happened there in the second half of 2017 and early 2018, ICOs. And they were happening on ETH. Ethereum was money, not Bitcoin. So all those ICOs, they raised a lot of money and they raised it in ETH. And there were now a large number of entities with a large number of ETH who didn't really have any business model or any idea how they would succeed. So how do they survive? How do they pay salaries? Well, they start selling those ETH. So 2018 was really the ICO hangover. So during 2018, from high to low, Ethereum dropped 80% versus BTC. And it was worse versus the dollar. Ethereum dropped a shocking minus 95%. ETH was definitely dead. But then what happened? In 2020 and 2021, we got DeFi Summer and the NFT Festival. So from March 2020, from the bottom to the 21 top, we had 5,300%. And Ethereum definitely gained on Bitcoin during this period. And if you were here, you remember that for the second time, Ethereum became money, not Bitcoin. NFTs were priced in ETH. On any DeFi service, it was Ethereum. Same as during the ICO season, Bitcoin couldn't stay relevant as money, even for the crypto community. It was Ethereum eating that cake. But then what happened? 2022 and everything dead season. And what happened with Ethereum to Bitcoin then, after these dramatic moves in the previous years? Well, the answer is nothing. Almost nothing happened here in 2022 when we see it in this perspective. It was basically a pretty tight range for the entirety of 2022. While no one will fail to remember what happened with Bitcoin during this period, it was an absolute carnage. Which means that when ETH BTC is flat, ETH to USD dropped by approximately the same amount as Bitcoin. So for ETH USD, that was minus 81%. Minus 82. ETH, once again, dead. But then, in Season 7, 2023 and 2024 came. A season that we all remember with fond memory. Looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is back from the dead. The orange line is pumping big time. So now surely with Bitcoin mooning like this, the more risk on asset, Ethereum versus BTC, must have mooned as well, right? Well, clearly no. From January 2023, ETH to BTC to current prices is down minus 32%, which for all practical purposes is almost flat to little minus. While Bitcoin has mooned, so ETH USD is up 4x. But looking at ETH versus BTC, ETH is still dead. And now comes the exercise and the reason for all this history lesson. Have we seen this before? Don't look now. Have we? Yes, we have, and it's etched with dark ink in my memory. It was this period where ETH BTC was dumping while Bitcoin to the dollar was absolutely mooning. Granddaddy BTC eating the cake. It reminds me of the same situation we have here, only not as severe. Because here we're just little minus, while here we were a lot minus in ETH BTC. Granddaddy BTC is strong when he rumbles. This period ETH USD has at least gone up. Here it barely did. And what happened last time? There was a massive comeback for ETH BTC, even after BTC stalled out. So could Season 8 start now? And could it be the BlackRock season? I understand in the US that the ETF discussions are facing more of an uphill battle with Ethereum because Gary Gensler doesn't like Ethereum as much as he likes Bitcoin. But with many other politicians and many other stakeholders, people that I have talked to, I actually think it's the other way around. I think Ethereum is the easier message to swallow than Bitcoin. Bitcoin message is that, okay, we programmers are gonna take over money now. You guys in the central bank, go home, we got it from here. And by the way, we're gonna take over gold that you have bought in your central bank now. We're gonna fix that also. And you in the finance department, you lose all the control. And by the way, countries are not that important either. And the smaller countries are now gonna leapfrog the legacy countries. Very difficult to swallow. Ethereum, on the other hand, is that we're gonna run some code here on this world computer. Actual application, useful utility, tokenized stocks, and empower the artists through the NFTs. For many people in power, much easier message to swallow. So I think it's at least possible that ETH BTC gets a comeback, as we have seen 3 times before. And where could that then take us in the chart? I actually think there is a clear answer to that question. Right now, ETH BTC is in this range. If there will be an upside breakout, I think the natural resistance is exactly where it turned the first time, after the flippening season. And this level isn't just random. This level is where Ethereum would become the #1 coin by market cap. And exactly where that happens depends a little bit on the issuance of supply, but it's approximately at 0.16 ETH versus BTC. I think that's a realistic target if Ethereum gets a comeback. It's not so much high from current levels. As you can see here, it's about 3x from the current 0.05. So in the Season 8 scenario, let's put 0.16 as a target. But what about ETH USD? Wait, is there nothing here? Don't worry, it's on the next slide. As you recall from the similar exercise I did for Bitcoin, which I'll link here. If you haven't watched it, watch that one first and then come back here, because that video is input into this one. I made 2 scenarios. One low BTC case, which we hadn't reached when I made the video. But now we have Bitcoin versus US dollar has reached 70k. So BTC USD is 70k, ETH BTC, the BlackRock scenario, that gives ETH to USD 11k. So guys, I didn't pull this out of thin air. It's 70 times 0.16 is 11.2. Then the high BTC case from the video I just pointed at was 300k at the end of this cycle in 2025 with the same BlackRock ETH scenario, 0.16. What does that become for ETH USD? It becomes 300 times 0.16 is equal to $48,000 per ETH. Wow. But there are risks also, the most obvious being this one. Sol has eaten ETH's lunch twice. First time was the DeFi summer and the craze of 2021. and now the second time has played out 2023 and now into 2024. And it makes sense. Absolutely smash the entries and shared it here on the channel. And there are fundamental arguments that we've discussed to death on the DCA show, with the simplicity and the fact that most people don't care about decentralized. They care about permissionless and low cost, and Sol has it, while ETH hasn't really been able to offer the combination of ease of use and low cost at the same time. The L2s have been kind of clunky, while Solana is an absolute joy to use. I, for example, made this video where I showed it in action. It's very hard not to like it. And then there's another threat also, which is much less obvious, and I doubt we'll even see it discussed much if it plays out. And it's very counterintuitive. Take this news today, for example. Great news for Coinbase here. We're excited to announce that Coinbase has been chosen as a key infrastructure provider for BlackRock and the Securitized Tokenized Investment Fund, which is that fund they started. What technology does Coinbase have? They have Base, a new Ethereum layer 2 incubated by Coinbase, and while today it's tiny, the Ethereum TVL total value locked is 50 billion, Base has 700 million, even BSC has 5 billion, Solana has 4 billion, other layer 2s like Arbitrum has 3 billion. Even Optimism has 1 billion. Base is tiny, but I think it's not to be underestimated for the same reason that Binance Smart Chain became so successful. It can become very easy to use if Coinbase integrates it as well, so you just withdraw from Coinbase and the money comes out on Base. You never have to touch Ethereum Layer 1. I think that might very well play out. And the problem here is this sentence: we have no plans to issue a new network token. And they clarify it again with a big red box. We do not currently plan to issue a new network token. They're using ETH as the native gas token. So when Coinbase announced this news, what happens then is that people go in here and they type Base, and then you see, for example, this one has gone up 137%. I suppose because the logo looks a little bit similar to the actual Base logo. So people go here and buy another blue Base, only that this project is some dead project with 4,000 followers. So don't be that guy or girl, please. But how is that a problem for Ethereum? They're literally saying that ETH will be our native gas token. Well, it's because you actually don't need much gas to make it work. Even on layer 1 with expensive gas fees, if people only bought Ethereum to actually use it as gas, price didn't have to be much. It could be like 20 bucks and the network would still work and everyone would have enough ETH to run their transfers or Uniswaps or whatever it is they want to do. The reason price is high is because people buy it on speculation. If now the whole cake becomes one layer 2 and everything is happening there, and the Ethereum layer 1 is something that you almost forget on, that just is like an infrastructure. It's like some routers that just make it work. And all actual work happens on one layer 2, which is operated by Coinbase. Perhaps that could eat a lot of Ethereum's cake. Solana, for example, doesn't really have that problem because there is no Binance layer 2 or Coinbase layer 2 on Solana. So we definitely need to have another scenario here, where we still have successful BTC, which we already reached, but Ethereum layer 1 becomes largely irrelevant. That does not mean that ETH BTC will go to 0. No, I don't think so. In that scenario, it is still needed. Also, there are so many fans that made so much money on ETH during these different bull seasons, even in BTC terms, that they won't abandon this one. So let's think technically instead. I don't think it's gonna drop back here to 2016 levels on the ETH BTC chart, but it could drop back here to the 2019-2020 level. It's not that long ago and it clearly dropped here. So where are the prices here? They are at 0.016. I think that's as low as it would go, at least in the near term. So here we have the box. This looks like it's the same number, but there is one more zero. This was 0.16, this is 0.016. With the same BTC case, ETHUSD becomes 1.1k. And on the ETHUSD chart, that is not unrealistic, guys, because we actually had it just little more than 1 year ago. But Bitcoin is in a different situation now than it was there, so it's that situation that led lets us arrive at this number even with a completely failing ETH. And as you can see now, the range of outcomes is much wilder here than when we compare Bitcoin. As a trader, as an investor, I love that, because wilder outcomes means bigger opportunity. And going forward, I think the wrong way to track which of these scenarios that will play out is ETH US dollar. It's the wrong way. You can't predict where we're going based on this chart, because all you will see here is basically what Bitcoin is doing. You can't tell the ETH from the BTC. The right way to track this is Ethereum versus BTC. We try to figure out if this becomes a bottom rectangle pattern that turns around here, together with BTC USD, to try to figure out where this will end up. Your friend in both cases is what? The trend, which is best proxied by Larsson Line in my opinion. If you don't have it, don't get scammed. I have only one website, ctolarsson.com. Press here for course and indicator, press here for pro. And if you don't have any money, the second best is to hire an old grandma and have her squint her eyes and try to tell if the chart points up or down. That will still outperform most of crypto Twitter. Thank you, Ty. CTO Larsson out.